Hi tribe, welcome back to my channel. I know year-end fatigue has me by the balls, guys. I am so exhausted, but as Pam says, the least that you did is show up. So here is me showing up, and I hope that you are also pushing through and showing up and trying to finish the things that you need to finish for the rest of the year, okay? Because you'll feel much better at the end of the day when you have ticked it off, all right? So today I want to talk about renting versus buying. This is such a contentious topic. People always talking about, no, renting is wasting money, buying, So I just want to take a look at facts, right? It can be contentious, but at the end of the day, there is always facts. So we're going to take a look at the facts of renting and the facts of buying, all right? What are the initial costs of renting and what are the initial costs of buying? With renting, very simple, very straightforward. You just have to pay a deposit, and normally that is about 2 months worth of your rent. Sometimes it's one, but lately I see that it's a deposit of 2 months worth of your rent. Okay, so if you want to rent for 10,000, the deposit will be 20,000 or sometimes 10,000, and that's it. And sometimes if you go through an agency, there'll be an agency fee of 500 rand. So those are the initial costs of renting. That's it. You pay somebody a deposit, you pay your monthly rent, you continue with your life. On buying, on the other hand, what are some of the initial costs? We all know that it is always encouraged for you to have a deposit if you're going to buy a house, right? Because it lowers your monthly bond, and it's just good when you go to a bank and say, I'm applying for a bond. It shows that you're serious. It shows that you have prepared to buy a house, and it will impact the interest rate that they give you. So it works to your advantage having a deposit. So that's the initial cost. You have to have a deposit. So let's say the house that you want to buy costs you 1 million, and 10% of that is 100,000, right? So you'd have a deposit of 100,000. But on top of that, there are a couple of other costs, initial costs when buying a house. There's transfer duty for properties that are over 900,000. There is transfer duty for properties lower than 900,000. Transfer duty is not levied, okay? But if you're going to buy a property that is over 900,000, you are going to get hit with a transfer duty. There's conveyancers fees. Lawyers, they want their money, they don't work for free. Then there is bond registration cost. All of this add up really, really, really quickly. Normally you would see the total initial cost on a 1 million rand house about 160,000. So that's the amount of cash you would have to have in hand even before you start doing anything else. So you can clearly see between renting and buying, the initial costs in terms of buying are much, much, much higher. All right. Then let's talk about the ongoing costs. So now you've moved into your rental apartment or you've moved into your house, you pay the initial costs, right? The ongoing cost when it comes to renting is your water, your electricity, what you basically use, obviously the rent. When something breaks, it's none of your business. You call the landlord, hey landlord, your toilet broke. They need to come in and fix that, right? And another cost perhaps could be household contents insurance. So if you have your couches, your laptops, all of that, that can form part of your ongoing costs, all right? So quite a few costs, but I think still manageable, right? Then ongoing costs of having your own property. You are a homeowner, right? Hashtag homeowner, hashtag keys, right? You've got the keys to the property. It is, of course, the bond, just like you'd pay your rent, water and electricity. Then there's levies for the municipality, all right? The municipality, you have to pay them to collect trash. You have to pay them, I don't know, to maintain roads. I have no idea. There's cost on cost on costs. Then there is, if you're living in a complex or estate, there's also levies to make sure that the estate or the complex is running well, okay? And that can be anything, depending on where that complex or estate is. So even security that could be included in there. So it starts adding up really, really, really quickly. And funny enough, I did a video the other time because I looked at our statement and I was like, Haibo, why are we paying so much for water and electricity? Right? And I even asked the property management company to send us statements they get directly from Eskom. Guys, in there is cost after cost. I mean, you're subsidizing everyone, basically. So there is tons and tons of costs, ongoing costs. Then, of course, when you do have a property, you also pay household contents insurance as well as as you would when you're renting. But now when you own the property, you have to pay building insurance, because what if this whole thing burns down? You would have insured your household contents, but the structure itself needs to be insured. Oh, another cost I completely forgot with the initial cost is that you actually have to get life cover, right? Because banks say, we are going to be lending you, we're going to be giving you, let's say they're giving you a bond for 2 million. We are effectively giving you 2 million to buy this house. We want to make sure that should anything happen, should you pass away, we will get our money. We don't have to auction off this property. The life cover policy will pay us as a bank, and your home is your home and it belongs to your kids, which I think is a good thing. But they're really just mitigating the risk for themselves. They don't want to be involved, and now it's going through executors and all sorts of things. So that's another initial cost. And normally some banks won't even give you the bond without you having life cover. And another tip that sometimes people don't tell you is that insurance, you don't have to take it out with the same company, with the same bank that is giving you the bond. So let's say you are going with Standard Bank or FNB or ABSA or any one of them. You don't have to take out life insurance with that same bank. It can be a life insurance company or it can be another bank. Just go for the one that is the cheapest for you, okay? Giving you lots of tips here also, right? So those are our ongoing costs. Oh, then the one cost I forgot about here is when you have a board. Unlike when you're renting, the maintenance is on you. The pool pump does not work. It is on you. I'm saying this because we are in that mess right now. The pool pump hasn't been working. We've been trying different things. Now we've just figured we need to get a whole new one. So maintenance of everything. I was talking to a couple of friends of mine 2-3 weeks ago, and they were just complaining. The electricity, there was something that wasn't working. We had to bring in an electrician. Then the wife was even saying with the toilet, there's something wrong with it. Yay, it's a lot. And the thing with maintenance is that yes, you can budget it under an emergency fund. That's why it's so important to have an emergency fund. But it just pops up out of nowhere all the time. The other day we saw, oh no, there's a bit of a leak in the roof. Now you have to go fix that. So home ownership, although it is nice, it's a lot. It's a lot. And those costs add up really, really quickly. Okay. So those are the initial costs and the ongoing costs. I think then it's safe to say we can see definitely home ownership costs way more money, right? In terms of the initial costs and the ongoing costs. But what other benefits then are there to renting, and what benefits are there to buying? I think with renting is that it's more flexible. If today I decide that I do not like this neighborhood, or you want to relocate because new job prospects are on the horizon, or you got a new job in a different place, it's easier just to pack your things, put in a notice, and go, right? Whereas if you own a house, the flexibility is not that much. Selling a house can take up to a year, 2 years, whatever it is. If you're lucky enough, you can find someone within a couple of weeks or so, but they always tell you, if you're trying to sell a house, estate agents will always tell you that, please, put it, just calm down. You're not going to sell immediately. You're lucky if you do that, but normally the flexibility is not as high, right? Then when it comes to buying property, the flexibility is that you can do whatever you want with your house, and that's the beauty of it. But I mean, all of this costs just so that you can paint and color that you want. Hey guys, anyway, with buying a property, with owning your own house, you can literally change it up to whatever it is that you desire. You know, if you're the type of person who is into home decor and you want to fix the toilet and make it look a certain way, you can do that. The bathroom. Whereas with renting, it does not allow you that flexibility. The only thing that I've seen landlords sometimes do is that they can allow you to paint, but that's as far as it goes. You know, you can't change the cupboards, you can't change the fixtures. So I think one thing about home ownership is that really can make a property yours. It can be who you are. It can be a reflection of who you really are. So I think that's a wonderful thing. You can change whatever it is you want without having to consult someone, right? And I think another advantage of owning a home is that you can decide to pay it off quicker. So let's say you have a 10-year bond, 15-year bond, 20-year bond, 30-year bond also. I've seen those. Is that you can actually make the decision that I want to pay it off much quicker. So you can pay it off in 5 years, can pay it off in 7 years, and now it forms part of your asset. Versus when renting, that can never be your asset. So I think definitely those are some benefits when it comes to buying. And one disadvantage also when it comes to renting is that if your landlord decides, maybe I want to move to America, I want to move to Australia, I want to move to Uganda, or wherever it is, or I want to relocate to Cape Town, and I don't want to own this property anymore, they can easily tell you that I'm giving you a month's notice, you need to find a new property. So you are never 100% sure, because they can decide that they don't want to be a landlord anymore. But I think at the end of the day, I would say when you are considering whether you should continue renting or whether you should start renting or you want to buy, I think look at your own affordability. I think at the end of the day, it all boils down to what can I afford? Can I afford to buy, looking at the initial costs, looking at the ongoing costs, or should I be renting in the meantime? And even further, stress test your future affordability. And what do I mean by stress testing your future affordability? It has a bit of a tongue twist to it, right? Stress testing your future affordability means, yes, I might be able to afford the house right now. So let's say you are young, you're a graduate, or you've been working maybe for 5 years and your income is steady. Now you want to have kids, you want to get married, or you and your partner want to travel the world. Will your current affordability will you still be able to afford the same things with all the other expenses creeping into your life? So I think affordability is a big one, and how you test affordability, again, live like you own the asset. So for 6 months, don't cheat, don't make it 2 months, don't make it 3 months. For 6 months, act like you own this asset. So if the bond is going to be 20,000 and currently let's say you're paying 5K on your rent, you need to put away the extra 15,000, put it away and act like you don't have it in your bank account, because that's what's going to go towards the bond anyway. If you can do that comfortably, happily for 6 months, then perhaps you are ready for home ownership. But not forgetting the ongoing costs, all the other ongoing costs, right? So if you can do that, perfect, then you are ready for home ownership. But guys, there's nothing wrong with renting. Truly, there is nothing wrong with renting. I think our generation, we want home ownership so badly. You know, you want to own a home. Pam is like...
Question, what about buying a house as an investment to rent it out?
Well, you can do that, absolutely. You can do that, but again, you have to look at the cost of running that house, because sometimes, especially with bigger houses, it's not that easy to actually make a profit out of it. It's basically just getting someone in there, because someone's not going to pay 40K to maintain and do all the ongoing costs. They'll probably just cover the bond. Then sometimes that money for maintaining the property is going to come out of your pocket. So if you have a long-term plan to say, okay, I know that it's going to grow in value and whatnot. Numbers never lie. Numbers, unless you're Steinhoff. So just run the numbers and see what is the most practical thing. Because I think when it comes to buying something to rent out as an investment, you have to look at what it's going to cost, because sometimes your tenant will only really cover the bond and that's it. So how else are you going to maintain it? That's a very good question, Pam. So yes, tribe, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're deciding whether renting or buying, go through this benefits, disadvantages, go through the costs and see which one can you sustain. The key here is affordability and sustainability. Please do remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon.